Hi, everybody.
Woo!
Hey, Mitch Larson.
Well, we're all huddled around a fire, trying to keep warm, trying to.
I see the fire. Very nice.
We're setting fire to the stream.
Art is being drawn. Good things are happening. So shall we do the normal processes, the normal?
Oh yes, the normal introductory.
The introductions.
Yes.
Everyone knows who M.A. Larson is. Shall I go over his credits just so people are aware?
Yes. Phantom Destroyer, King of the Pegasisters.
He is King of the Pegasisters. This has been established.
Last time I was on,
I did not know about that one.
I didn't know about that one either.
I like that
last time I was
title.
on Kallisti, I got that title.
Mm-hmm. Kallisti too.
You wear it with pride.
I do.
Indeed.
So M.A. Larson is one of the writers on My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, and actually, Osaka Jack pointed this out to me. You have 12 episode credits to your name, which is the most of anyone on the show, with the exception of Lauren Faust, who is obviously credited in all of them. But you are the most prolific writer on the show.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
You have written Swarm of the Century, Sonic Rain with the Cutie Mark, Novels, Return of Harmonies, Part 1 and 2, Lunar Eclipse, Sacred Mike, Says Super Speedy, Side, Squeezy 6000, It's About Time, Confidential Magic Duel, and a Magical Mystery Cure. I managed to get through those again. Yay!
That's a lot.
Well done. Well done.
In your face, Amy Keating Rogers.
You've bested her by 11. Beg your pardon. You've got 12 to her 11. So depending on how season 4 works out, you might not be wearing that title for long, unfortunately.
No.
We'll see what happens. But how you doing, man?
Luckily, I have a 7-parter coming up, so that counts for 7, right?
Oh, we got to inform the news sites and make sure this information gets out there. 7-parter.
Goodness gracious.
The whole main 6 will become alicorns. Which is especially impressive for the Earth ponies, since they have to grow the horns as well. Anyway, what's up? How are you doing?
Pretty good. I see the mouth of an alien on here. What's going on there?
Oh. He's drawing Celestia fighting alien. It was a.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Everything's tied to ponies somehow.
Some
One way or
crossover
another.
going on.
Yes.
So, where do we begin? We could
I'd say.
just take some questions from the audience, or we could do the usual sort of "How did you get your start?" type of deal. It's up to
Don't
you.
matter
What
to
do
me.
you fancy doing? You're the one who's here at 11 o'clock on a Saturday evening.
It makes absolutely no difference to me. What do people care about?
Let's see.
Well, we
care
could
about
sit
ponies.
here and insult you for an hour. Would you like that?
Please.
All right. Well, Mitch, I hear he's a
Typical Saturday night.
Yeah, I've heard that he goes to brony conventions.
He does?
Wow.
Well, what cons are you going to be at? That's a good starting question.
There you go. I have 3 that I'm going to now.
Oh.
I'm going to go to BronyCon because I really wanted to go to the East Coast. I've realized I went to Chicago, but that was kind of a small one, and that's only halfway. But I haven't seen any East Coast bronies yet. So I'm going to hit that one. And then in October, I'm going to Brony Days in Paris, which I'm wildly excited about.
Did we?
Hot diggity
What?
dang.
And then in November, off to Nightmare Nights in Dallas.
Outstanding.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Good
Um,
stuff. Which one are you
somebody-
most looking forward to?
Well, they all have their charms, that's for sure. I mean, you can't beat a trip to Paris, obviously, but I'm excited to go to a really huge convention like BronyCon, and I'm a massive fan of Texas, so I'm psyched about all 3 of them.
Will you be having any sort of special panel at BronyCon, or are you just arriving as a guest?
I will be paneling, and I found out that Amy's going too,
Ooh.
so I have a feeling we'll be paneling together.
Your nemesis.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to stop by. I'm one of those.
Someone should draw that epic battle.
The whole panel will just be you going back and forth as a grudge match.
That's what it will be.
Here's a little known fact about our little rivalry, is I really actually don't like her at all.
It's not
Yeah,
a friendly rivalry. It is actually
No,
just pure
maybe on
hatred.
her side. Maybe on her side.
Oh, so she's under oh goodness gracious, so she's under a false impression about the nature of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. On my side, it's completely real.
Oh man.
Well, I don't know if you heard us speaking with her earlier, but she said the same thing. I mean, she just despises
Oh, she
you
did?
openly. Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
She absolutely cannot stand you.
The hatred is palpable. She was using some quite profane language earlier. It was shocking, truly.
I'm not.
I believe poopy head was thrown around at one point. I'm not
Yep,
sure.
that sounds like her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yes,
not.
of course.
Anyway, shall we talk about episodes? Shall we take questions from the chat? Because I know there are quite a few people in the chat who are quite keen to hear what you have to say.
What's going on, chat?
Say hello, everyone in the chat. Say welcome to Mr. Larson.
Yes.
Oh, Osaka Jack is here, and he says he heard the Smile song was originally the Screw M.A. Larson song. We'll have to ask. I think he's on to it.
Daniel Ingram actually revised those lyrics.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
Get her to play the original version at one of the cons. Actually, Jack had a question earlier. I think he wanted me to ask. He was curious about the origins of Star Swirl the Bearded. If you can go into that, because he's one of yours. He's come up in a couple of your episodes.
He has, yeah, and it's much less mystical than I'm sure it seems.
Well, make
But
something up.
basically, when we in the first season, when the show was just getting going, anytime you're starting out, you want to just expand things. And I think the first time I mentioned him was for the costume, right, for Looney Eclipsed.
Mm.
And Lauren gave us all a list of names of like towns and places and characters and things that had been approved already by Hasbro Legal that we could just use and not worry about. And so I thought it just seemed like it makes sense for her character to idolize an ancient mystic magic pony who nobody's ever heard of, a really obscure one. And Star Swirl was on that list that Lauren gave us, which sounds pretty magic-y. So I called him Star Swirl, and then it just didn't sound quite, ancient enough. So just tack on that kind of medieval, the bearded, and there he is.
But it is a he, because there is some fanon that has suggested that Star Swirl is a bearded filly.
Interesting. Well, I don't know. I've never fleshed that character out, but in my mind, it was a he.
Interesting, good stuff. I got nothing. No, come on, we've got other hosts for this. Someone else chime in here. I'm looking at the chat, seeing who else has questions. Dead air is bad. Someone say something. All right.
Hello.
Oh, what is this? Things are popping up on my screen.
Oh dear.
Muffin or cupcakes? People ask me questions.
It's an important
directly.
question, really. What muffin or cupcakes? Where do you fall on that? And be warned, you're going to ignite fandom drama if you answer incorrectly.
God, I
Yeah.
feel like that's bound to happen anyways, right? I'm going to abstain. I'm not getting involved with that.
Ah, coward.
I know.
Well,
Actually,
I
I've
do. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I'm seeing questions here, and actually, I've got a question from one of my colleagues who is attacking me directly on Skype, who is curious to know what your most entertaining moment of inspiration for an episode was and why.
You cut out just a tiny bit at the beginning. The most what?
Sorry. The most entertaining sort of moment of inspiration you had for an episode, or something that happens in an episode. What has been something that has inspired a moment in one of your episodes?
Gosh.
So I guess the question is, have you drawn anything from life, insofar as you can draw something from life when you're dealing with a show about candy-colored magic ponies?
Well, I think back through 12 episodes, so it's let's see. That's a good question.
The question is, what is Star the Bearded like in real life? I mean, is he a nice guy?
No, he's not. He's not at all. No, he's based on Amy Roger.
Not the kind of guy you could have a beer with.
You could have a beer with him. It might not be any fun, but Gosh, I don't know. My life is like comprised of pop culture, so there's a lot of references that I've thrown in. Like I've many times I've mentioned I've referenced the Pace Pecani sauce commercial in Secret of My Excess. So I guess that you could say that's from life, but that's like a commercial that my brother and I used to quote all the time when I was a kid because it was on in the 80s, and that found its way into a pony script. So there's stuff like that. But I've never had to deal with a giant rampaging dragon, so I can't really.
What have you been doing with your time that you've never run into that issue? I mean, that's like once a week over here. Dragon. Mm-hmm. We should point out for people asking questions that Mr. Larson probably cannot answer any questions about season 4, even if they're just things like how many episodes he's written. That's just not something that we can get into.
It's true.
Unfortunately.
Don't get me guys.
Now, if you come back for Kallisti 4, hopefully, when that's a thing and season 4 has aired, then you'll be able to answer questions about it.
Yeah, we have to talk about the past.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So, Osaka Jack asks how your daughter is doing. That's a good question. How is your daughter doing?
She is fantastic. She can, if I say the name of a character, she can point the character out. And she has proven herself to be a Fluttershy fan.
Excellent. Good choice.
She knows all of them. She knows Rarity, Twilight Sparkle. Like, she could point them all out on request.
Excellent.
You are training her well.
I am.
I mean, you don't really need reading.
She says pony.
You need the pony knowledge at that age.
Yep. Actually,
I'm grooming her.
May I interject quickly with a question?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is, because I know this has been just on my mind for the last 20, 25 minutes. What has been the status of Larson Con? And when can we expect to see a formal announcement to the effect of, let's see, confirmed guests, venue, kind of stuff?
You know, it's been a little bit of a, can I swear? I mean, like, should I keep this kind of like family? The team putting this convention together has just been an absolute nightmare, and things aren't really, a lot of infighting.
Why did you hire the people from LPU, man?
They said they had experience. They'd organized a convention, and they were cheap, and now I can't find them anywhere.
They were too cheap.
Ah, man.
Too cheap.
It's going to happen. Hey, I guess I still got half a year left. What's your rush?
Yeah, convention season's ramping up, man. You got to get on.
Exactly. We got to plan out our adventures. Got to make sure these things are ready to go.
It's going to be the day of the season 4 premiere.
Oh, that's gonna be good. Yeah, I mean, you already have like a set of panel ideas that could just pertain right there, just right there. It's perfect.
Built in.
Mm-hmm.
We also have another question while we're talking about silly things. Other projects you're working on, do you have a specific release date yet for the book that you're working on? And can you tell us a little bit about the book and the screenplay and all the other stuff that you've been working on?
Quick backstory. So I came up with this. I'll give you like how it came to be because it might be interesting.
Yeah, give us the full pitch.
I was working on my very first animation job at Cartoon Network, and taking a paycheck over the bank. I remember so specifically where I was when I thought of this. And I was walking back from the bank to Cartoon Network, and I just was thinking, I was trying to think of show ideas, like how can I sell my own show? Because I already knew even then on my first job that's like the only way to do it. And so it just, for some reason, it came to me like, what if the Princess Peach from Super Mario Kart like hung out with all the other princesses like Cinderella and Snow White and whatever, and then like all the princesses were in the same world. And so I just kind of developed that into this idea called Princess Boot Camp, which was where girls would go to and do military style activities and learn to become princesses. So I actually sold it to Disney because it seemed like a perfect Disney show in 2006 or 2007. And we developed it for a while as a TV series. And there was things like, if you take Full Metal Jacket, so the company commander guy who was screaming at everybody, that role was called the Fairy Drill Sergeant. So it was a tiny little fairy that would go around screaming at the girls and they were doing all their princess-themed military activities. So we developed into Oblivion at Disney, and I got all the rights back, and didn't really know what to do with it. I still thought it was kind of a sellable idea, but I didn't know what to do with it. And to be honest, the show was kind of crappy. And a friend of mine suggested writing it as a book, which I'd never thought of. And so I, over the course of years, did that and really aged it up. So it's much more like Harry Potter now, and I've lost some of the parody elements of it. And turned it into the basic idea is that in a Grimm's fairy tale, take the princess from Mario Kart out of it, and it's like purely Grimm's fairy tale, which are really dark, scary, violent tales. If you read the original ones, not the Disney ones. So it's that world, and it's becoming overrun by witches. And the thing that's kind of left out of fairy tales is that the only thing that can stop a witch is a true princess. So this camp trains these girls to be princesses, but it's not parody like comedy stuff. It's actually kind of dark, and the witches are genuinely scary. So now it's the version that I have now, which is going to be the final version, is it's much more like Harry Potter than a Disney Channel show. It's older and darker and scarier and whatnot. So that was the long version. I don't have a title yet, but the first book comes out next May. And then I just turned in the script for the movie adaptation 2 weeks ago to the studio. So that's where it all stands.
Outstanding. Thank you for that.
Sorry that was so long.
No, it's good. And I'm not sure everyone has heard of that, but I'm hoping that there will be a large groundswell of support within the community, because that sounds like the kind of people would be interested in. I
think the fan base for My Little Pony has a lot of crossover with my book and movie, because it centers around a core group of girls, and they're learning the way that you defeat a witch is to be a good person. Basically, that's where your weapon comes from, and so it has that same sort of sincere heart that My Little Pony does. And there's funny stuff too, like there's some comedic elements to it, but there's just crossover. It's about a group of girls who become friends at this training academy. Yes, Reese Witherspoon is producing it, and she's going to play the fairy drill sergeant. And Lionsgate is the studio that's going to make the movie, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So there you have it. And Penguin is going to publish the book next May.
So everyone keep an eye out for that.
But yeah, it's planned to be a trilogy, and they said the next one will come out the following May, so it should be hopefully one every year.
Here's the big question. Under what name will you be publishing it? Is it going to be under M.A. Larson? Is it going to be under Mitch Larson?
It's M.A.
You have become M.A. now, haven't you?
My Little Pony has entirely changed my persona. I joined the Writers Guild as M.A. Larson. That'll be the name on the book. Yeah, that's me now. I prefer it.
It sounds very distinguished, when the initialisms thing is it's got a nice nice legacy in literature.
I was never a huge fan of my name. I never really hated my name, but I never really liked it either. And this is just an excuse to, I'll be that person.
M.A., the legend of M.A.
The legend of M.A. Larson.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Do you hate getting asked the same questions over and over? Is one of the questions. You don't have to answer that.
It's bizarre to be being asked questions, honestly. So no, I don't mind at all. I feel like it's boring for people who have heard that answer before, That's like the Star Swirl thing I've answered a couple of times, and so I'm like, oh man, people out there who've heard that are going to be bored to tears.
The thing
I feel like I should kind of lie and make up a new story every time.
You should. People will never know, and then you'll really confuse them. Actually, Dusk Eagle is asking, how did you become M.A. anyway? So if you want to get into the name...
There's another one. I feel like I've answered that a million times.
Well, make something up then. Completely lie on this time around, and then you'll throw everyone for a loop.
There you go.
I'll tell you what I was hoping.
It's a name he picked up when he was in prison, That's what his inmates used to call him when he was, okay.
That's right.
Got to keep it PG. Sorry, go ahead.
I was hoping that people would think that it was who's this person, Marianne Larson? That's what I was hoping. Because the shows that I've been writing on were primarily boy-oriented action shows. The exact same time I got hired on My Little Pony, I got hired on Symbionic Titan at Cartoon Network, which I was sure was going to be a huge hit, and so was my agent. And so he said, "You can't use your real name on My Little Pony because it'll dilute the action credits. So you got to use a pseudonym." And I was like, "Well, if I use M.A., they might think it's Marianne, and that's cool." And then when I'm rich and famous and powerful for writing Symbionic Titan, then nobody even know that I worked on My Little Pony. So that's how it happened. And lo and behold, I like it a lot better. And Symbionic Titan lasted one season.
And My Little Pony is still going strong.
Still going strong. Although I wrote 3 episodes of Symbionic Titan that never got produced, unfortunately. That was a really good show.
Ooh.
Are you allowed to tell us anything about those?
Oh God, if I can remember them. The only thing I really remember, it was years ago when I wrote those, was Gendy had this story about, oh God, who was it? Rob Renzetti, I think, who was the story out of My Little Pony, coincidentally. But those people are all they all know each other of that era. I think it was Rob Renzetti, and he was roommates with somebody, and there was this big fight about Renzetti's spoon being gone, and there was this catchphrase they all had, like, "Where's my spoon? Where's my spoon?" And Gendy wanted to write an entire episode based around this little incident, so we did. I wrote an episode called "Where's My Spoon" for season 2 of Symbionic Titan. It was all about Lance and Alana, who are the 2 main characters, kind of stepping all over each other and needing space from each other. But that's really the only thing I can remember. I'd have to look at the scripts again.
And I remember you saying in other interviews that that's the kind of dynamic that you enjoy writing, just taking 2 characters who are very dissimilar and throwing them together and seeing what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like sitcom 101. I'm a huge sitcom fan. That's what I grew up on. And, if you watch All in the Family, that's all that show is. It's a brilliant show, but you got Archie Bunker, who's this genius character, and of course his son-in-law is the polar opposite of him, and he lives next door to the Jeffersons. He's just surrounded by people who are opposites of him. So yeah, I like doing that on My Little Pony too. I love having, I would have loved to have written Look Before You Sleep, because I think that's what all that episode is.
I was going to ask, are there particular pairings that you like playing within the show when you can?
I'd love to do one.
Work pretty well together.
I'd love to do one that's just Rarity and Applejack. I mean, I know that's Look Before You Sleep, but I think that's a fun pairing. Woo! You know what? Rarity and anybody. And I'm sold.
You do like writing for Rarity, don't you?
I love writing for Rarity.
Well, isn't it obvious?
I'd like to write too many rarities.
Too many.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great episode.
Before I asked the question of you ages ago, I would have put money on you liking Fluttershy the most to write for. That was a terrible sentence. Let me try that one again. No, hell with it. You know what I meant.
In the British accent, it still sounded pretty good.
Thank you. No, but I mean, you have given us some of the most enduring lines for Fluttershy, the yay sequence at the beginning of Sonic Rainboom, and stuff of that nature, and yet you find her quite challenging to write. Do I understand that correctly?
I've in a void, but I like putting her with Rainbow Dash. I think they work really well together. I think Rainbow Dash brings out fun parts of Fluttershy, and I love the thing that Lauren did, where I think the best shows have this really, what's the word I'm looking for? Not subtle, but I guess it is kind of subtle differences in the characters' histories, like that Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy knew each other before any of the others. Or, the fact that Applejack has such a close family and some of the others don't. The fact that each character is sort of, not only the characters differentiated, but their personal relationships are too. I think is really fun, and I like putting Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy together, partially because they're so opposite, but also because they're good buds,
Which they shouldn't be, really, when you consider how very opposed they are.
That's right.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep.
It doesn't work. It shouldn't work, and yet it does. It's the story of the entire show, really. It shouldn't work, but it does.
I think that's true.
Question from someone. Oh dear, this could go to bad places. I fear your answer to this. Weirdest moment you've had, or strangest or coolest. You can take this any direction you want, but weirdest or strangest or coolest moment you have had with a brony, and I guess just your larger experience with the fandom as a whole. Can you comment on that?
Let's see here. I had a fantastic moment. I mean, it really didn't amount to anything at all, but it was just so cool when it happened. I'm from Minnesota, and I was back there a few months ago, and I think it's changed now, but they used to have no sales tax on clothing, so I would stock up while I was there. So one day I just went to like my local mall, which is the mall that I used to go to when I was like 5. You know, it's just like the crappy little mall. And
Right.
I saw this dude wearing a brony t-shirt, and I was like blown away. And I was really nervous. I wanted to go up and say hi to him because I'd actually seen bronies before, but never said anything.
Mm.
And I was like, I gotta talk to this guy. I'm in Minnesota. It's so weird. So I just went over to him and like I said, hey, you know, I hope this isn't really weird, but can I get a picture with you? And he looked at me like I was going to rob him or something. He looked really like, who the hell is this guy? And I said to him, I was like, I write for the show. He's like, you do? And I said, yeah. And then we took the picture, and I still don't think he believed me. I think he thought I was kind of messing with him.
Well, it's
sounds
kind
like
of
you
random.
found
It's not something you would believe, really.
I should have like said to him, hey, let me get your name and, you know, whatever. But I was so nervous, and like I felt like he was really suspicious. So I just got the hell out of it. I took the picture with him and I got the hell out of there. But it was really cool.
So this was long before you'd been to a con or seen us in large herds.
This was post, because only a couple months ago. This is post.
Oh, okay. So it was
different. It's different seeing people at cons, because I think everybody's there for the same reason, and everybody has expectations of this is what it is, and we're all, you know, we're all here for the same reason and that kind of thing. But to see somebody just out in the wild, it's really cool. I've written for a bunch of shows, and I've never seen anybody who's wearing a T-shirt from something I've worked on.
And you've seen a few in LA, I think, as well.
I've seen a few in LA. Yeah, I've never approached anybody here, but I've seen a couple. Seen a couple of shirts. I saw a sticker on a truck that was Rainbow Dash's cutie mark, and I've driven past a couple of people and been like, "Oh my God, there's one right there! That's crazy."
That I can see. If you're just walking up to someone in a shirt, that's not too scary. But a guy shouting out of the car as he passes, "Hey, you're funny! I ran on the show!" That I can see.
It's like a drive-by shout-out.
Drive-by bronying.
I've seen a few, but every single time I get super nervous, and I just want to walk past. But I'm just like giggling, like, "Oh my God, there's somebody wearing a T-shirt from My Little Pony. That's insane."
You've got to cash in on that, on the love. No? Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm
that's
incredibly shy outside of convention situations, which is weird.
We've got some... You can keep talking if you like. I'm just trying to monitor the chat and make sure that everyone who wants to ask a question of you can.
Yep. While you're doing that, may I quickly give us an update on what our donation count is?
Oh, yes, money.
Money, yes. So we are at €13.75, or 1,375.
Wow.
It's a good chunk of change.
Good chunk of change indeed.
But we can always do more. So if you have not yet donated, please do. If you have donated, thank you very much. If you can't donate, then please do help spread the word. You can tweet it. You can put it on Tumblr. Do whatever it is that one does with these social networks. And don't forget to use the hashtag Kallisti. And if you want to annoy Mitch, then include him in the tweet. Mention him, and then he'll get lots of notifications, and that'll be fun for him.
Do it. How come none of you guys sound sleep deprived?
Because I got some sleep.
Well, yeah. I just drank some tea, so I just drank some tea, so I'm good to go.
I cheated. I'm a weakling. I couldn't stay up all night.
You did
I
last
think
time.
I've only been up for 16 hours now.
You sound completely like you could deliver a dissertation.
Well, I still have to go another. Let's see, it's after another 9 or 10 hours.
And these are the hard hours, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm a night person. I sleep during the day.
You're a night person after 16 hours awake?
Yeah, I'm more awake when it's dark. The sun makes me feel drained. Like
You got to power on through, really.
Yeah.
I don't
Actually-
disagree with you, actually.
We should ask you what we've asked other guests, which is there any artwork you would like drawn? Any ideas that you have for our talented artists while they're working?
Totally had one. I had such a good one, and I've completely forgotten it. I knew you were going to ask this. Damn it!
Come on, remember it. Come on, no pressure. We've only got
remember
hundreds of listeners right now who are waiting on the edge of their seats for you to come out with this brilliant idea. Come on.
Let it ruminate. I had such a good one. I'm going to think about it as soon as I hang up.
Shock horror.
Damn it!
Well, no. If you remember it later, then you can certainly throw it our way, and we'll make sure it gets sorted out.
I will think through. But I mean, I'm sure everything's been done by now, right?
No.
There's always room for more, and
There's always
crossovers as well. So there's plenty of territory left.
I think somebody should ponify that paste pecani sauce ad, the whole thing. How about that?
Get one of the animators on it
with Applejack, maybe a little Brayburn.
That can go in the request sheet. I don't know if we can bust out the entire video in that length of time, but I'm sure someone can do it.
Oh, you mean like right now while we're on?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Someone can draw that.
Well,
Presumably. Someone want to add that to the mega sheet of
I'm not sure who's open right now.
requests? All right. Well, we probably
mean,
can't get it done during your actual appearance, but someone will.
Even if we can't do the whole ad, we could do a comic strip of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
What's the ad exactly?
It's a series of paste pecani sauce ads from the 80s where the gist of it is you got a bunch of cowboys and it's sort of City Slickers-esque, if I remember right. They're making fun of this guy because he gets his pecani sauce from New York City, and the other cowboys are just aghast. They're like, New York City? And one guy says, get a rope, which is the line that I stole for Secret Access. I can't believe anybody cares about the shit.
Well, we do.
Mind
We
blowing.
care about all kinds of people.
You'd be surprised about what people get so enthused over.
And now we feel cool because we know that the Get My Rope sequence is based on a Pace Picardie ad. I mean, not everyone in the fandom knows that, and now we do because we were here listening to you.
This is the kind of exclusive content you're only going to get on the Kallisti stream.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's the kind of exclusive content that you should donate for.
Yes.
That's right.
That is true. Very true. Very true.
Question for you from the chat. Since you've been on something of a litigious kick lately, did you bring your lawyers with you?
So I've retired my lawyers for now.
What was
When
up
I
with
saw
that?
that Saber Spark was out pimping this documentary and was mentioning me, I was like, uh-oh, time for some lawyers. But it blew over, so the lawyers are gone, but they may come back.
Hot diggity dang.
It's important when people are asking about spoilers and that kind of thing. You definitely need to have your
They'll come
solicitors
back.
and attorneys on hand.
There's not much funnier to me than a picture of a bunch of people in suits smiling at the camera and, being referred to as the lawyers. It just makes me laugh, so they may be back.
Someone should draw pony lawyers.
Yes. Give me a law firm. Give me a pony law firm.
We
Pony
haven't
law.
seen pony
What
lawyers,
would they
have
be
we?
called? What would their law firm
See,
be
who
called?
formed this firm? I mean, Twilight's the obvious choice.
I can see Rarity rocking a sort of business suit, and yeah,
I can see Rarity.
Just like Rarity a lot.
The problem is only some of the ponies have last names.
Mm-hmm.
And the string of last names is essential for a law firm.
This is true.
Thinking me and a Diane Pie.
Yeah, the Pie family. How about that? The Pie family law. Pie, and pie.
Pie, and pie.
Val pie, 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 pie.
Pie,
They went to the rock farm and decided that it was easier just to sue people.
Indeed. I think
We find out that secretly she's ashamed of her parents because they're actually filthy rich.
Indeed.
They're
I think an
filthy rich
Ellie would
lawyers.
approve of that very much so.
So, more questions from the chat
Chat.
that don't give away spoilers and don't wander into territory that could get controversial.
Oh, here's one. Here's a neutral question. Party cannon or base cannon?
I don't understand the question.
I don't think he's necessarily familiar with the base canon, because that's a fanon thing. That's something that
I don't know what that
originated in...
Why can't you have both? Why can't you have a party base cannon?
Yeah, why isn't it or?
Yeah, see, Vinyl and Pinky need to get together and build that thing.
Seems to me if you're going to have a good party, you're going to want bass there anyways, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think this is an or situation. I think it's an and.
Okay.
Okay, we got a question here, which is... Yeah, it's neutral enough. I guess it gives you a chance to kind of
give me the hard hitting controversial ones. I don't mind.
Well, I mean, all right. You, I'm sure, remember some of the controversy that came up when there was this certain, I don't know, you may have heard of it, I don't know if you remember it, but the end of season 3, when that thing happened at Twilight, you may have noticed there was a little bit of controversy in the fandom, a little bit of high tension.
Yes.
Did that cross your radar, did it?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah, because
no. What were your thoughts on that? What was your reaction, and just thoughts on that in general? Because I know that was a huge thing, and that was a lot of people were saying things to you.
Oh boy. I just
Thoughts on it now that we've moved on and we're several other death of the fandom moments down the road.
It feels like. It feels a little bit like waltzing through a minefield. I just don't know what I can say and can't say and would piss people off. And
so you want to
say
hard-hitting
exactly
question?
what you want to say. Don't censor yourself.
Give me the hard-hitting questions. I'm just going to tell you some of them I can't answer. I don't know.
Fair enough.
There's a lot I'd love to say about it, but I don't think I can.
Well, not necessarily the genesis of how it happened or any of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but more your reaction to the fan reaction, if you want to discuss it that way, or we can just move on entirely. It's up to you.
I was a little surprised that people were. Well, okay. I'll tell you I'll give you some. I don't think anybody who follows me on Twitter would be surprised, but I was absolutely disgusted with the way it all rolled out. Like finding out that was going to happen like a month in advance, and then getting just a barrage of like spoilers and clips and previews and images. It was just awful. I would love to see a parallel universe where none of that happened and people just watched the episode. Maybe we'd be in exactly the same place we are now, maybe not, but I'd love to see that, because it was just like, I mean, the way I found out that you guys found out was that all of us, I'm just in the library like working, and my notifications just start going crazy. And so I'm like, what the hell's going on? So I sign onto Twitter, and there it is. And my first tweet was Rosebud, because it's like, oh, okay. Here's a fairly major spoiler from the episode, like a month in advance. And then it just kept going. It kept coming. There was like a clip and a scene and this and a that. And it was just like, I just had to laugh after a while. It was awful.
But you are vehemently anti-spoiler, yes.
I am. I think that when you're consuming some sort of form of media, and I think this is true of any media, I think your expectation plays such a major role in your enjoyment of it or non-enjoyment of it. And when you see certain spoilery things, it can absolutely change the way you see something. And I think the worst one I saw was the Crystal Empire, where they gave like the 8-minute scene. That's just it's absolutely mind blowing for a 22-minute episode. Yeah, it's crazy. And people are like, "Oh, what about trailers for movies?" And I think a lot of trailers go too far. But if you do the ratio of a trailer for a movie to the running time of the movie, and then those spoilers, it's not even close. I don't know. I've become, as I've gone through life, I've become much more a fan of watching things with as little information as possible. There was a movie that came out last year called Compliance that my wife brings home these DVDs all the time. Is like, I have to watch this for work. And now I don't even say, what's it about? I say, okay, let's watch it. So we watched this movie called Compliance, and I had no idea what it was about. I didn't know the genre. I didn't know the tone, nothing. And I was blown away. I thought it was just absolutely amazing. And I think if I knew what it was about, I would have enjoyed it nearly as much. And I think if you're going to watch it, you should just watch it. Although it's kind of disturbing. Be forewarned.
So you're not going to tell us what it's about, are you?
I'm not going to say a word about it. I think you should just watch it. It's great. But it's very disturbing and R-rated, so be forewarned, but watch it anyways. But I think that with Magical Mystery Cure, there was just no way that it could live up to either the high expectations some people had or the really low expectations other people had. When you start giving out information to a fandom that loves to analyze a month in advance, the expectations just go completely out of control. So when the episode airs, it's like, it's just, you can't, I don't know. It's like you got to move the trial to a new venue. You know what I mean?
And I think the consensus was when the episode did air, I think you're talking about people's expectations and it not matching up to them. I think a lot of people I think the overall consensus was that people were relieved and impressed by it. I think people did end up thinking that you pulled it off after the whole I Believe in M.A. Larson campaign, that we were vindicated in that.
Yeah, there was a lot of, I got a lot of nasty tweets and things like that, and some of them were just trolls. Some of them were seriously upset people, which is fair enough. And some of them were people who just were like, I just think it's a bad idea. I actually liked the episode, but I think it's a bad idea, and that's fair enough too. And then the vast majority of stuff I saw was people who genuinely liked it or were expecting to hate it and didn't. I think those two categories are the vast majority of what I saw. And some of the complaints I've seen, I'm like, yeah, I don't disagree. I would love to have it be two-parter, but it wasn't in the cards,
Yeah, it's worth remembering that you don't have final cut authority, and that a lot can change between script and screen in the entire.
That is one of the frustrating things. Actually, is I see a lot of things of people who, and I don't want to just harp on the negative stuff, but complain about things and just don't understand how writing for animation works. It's like, I get the story, I go in, I say, oh, this would work better as a two-parter. Well, we can't for whatever reason. Okay. So then you got 22 minutes to do the story, and that's just it. So I thought the musical format worked beautifully for that, because you can cover a lot of story in a quick amount of time with a song. You can get to different emotional places with a song than you can with action and dialogue. I mean, that True Friend. True Friend was not in my script. I had an equivalent song with this equivalent thing happening, but that was entirely Ingram, and that's one hell of a song. And the emotions in that song are fantastic. And I think it's a different kind of emotional 2 minutes than you would have if you had 2 minutes of script. So I thought if we're going to have a one-parter for the finale, then let's do it as a musical, because you can do that. You can go to deeper emotional places faster, and you can move through story faster.
So would you say that was the episode you enjoyed writing the most because of that musical format, or did you have more fun on other episodes? We'll just lead into that. I mean, what episode did you most enjoy writing?
Well, it's interesting because I am well aware that I'm not a good lyricist, and anybody who has heard my first song, which was the Fluttershy song from Cutie Mark Chronicles, will agree.
But again, it's getting back to the Fluttershy thing. You don't. Everyone loves all the stuff you've done with Fluttershy, and yet you don't.
Oh no, I think that song is great. I think Ingram did a great job, but the lyrics are terrible. And that's to be fair to me, that's the first song of any kind I've ever written. But my favorite episode to write was probably Super Speedy Cider Squeezy, which was because of the song. That song was just such a riot to write. I honestly, going into that story meeting, I hated musicals. Just hated them. Didn't want anything to do with them. There were rare exceptions like the South Park musical, but just hated them. And then that story meeting came about, and Rob and Lauren were both like, "Oh my God, The Music Man! This is perfect. We'll do like The Music Man." And I'm like, "Oh God, don't make me watch The Music Man." And they were both jaws dropped, like you've never seen The Music Man. So I had to go home and watch it, and I was a complete convert. I thought it was spectacular, and I totally got it. I mean, I knew the monorail song from Simpsons.
Everyone knows the monorail Simpsons song,
right? I knew the monorail song, but not the original song. But seeing the original, I was like, "Oh my God, this is unbelievable! It's so good!" And I watched it a couple more times, and then writing that song. I mean, that song. I love watching that song because Ingram, like he does, he just knocked it out of the park, and it's just so fun writing for those two guys because it's two guys with one brain, and the entire point of that song is for them to talk really fast and really confuse everybody in town and just dazzle them. And so there's just a lot of energy in it,
How much direction were you able to sort of insert into that section of the script in terms of how you saw it? Or, I mean, were you surprised by the way it ended up looking versus the way you had it in your head when you wrote it? We'll ask it that way.
Boy, it's the visuals are so ingrained in my head now. I'm trying to remember what I thought before that. This show is just awesome in general for that because I've worked on a lot of shows where you watch it on the air. Like some shows I just stopped watching because it was too depressing. That's the other thing people don't understand about writing for kids shows like this. Not My Little Pony, and actually not hub shows in general. But a lot of times what appears on the screen, you're like, I see this stuff when the audience does. And I've had stuff air, not on My Little Pony, on other shows. I've had stuff air where I'm like, oh my God, that's got my name on it. I didn't write a word of this. There's the union protections just aren't the same as they are at the prime time. And they can do whatever they want to your script. And they can take your name off. I've seen things air that I wrote that didn't have my name on them. And I've seen things air that I wrote maybe, 2 minutes out of 20 that have my name on them. So to get a show like this where I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, this is just gorgeous and fun, and the timing is beautiful, and the voice acting is great, and the music's great, and I don't think the Bordeaux's directors, everybody in Canada gets enough credit for the timing on the show. They do such a great job with the timing.
You talking the comedic timing, or just the timing in general?
Timing is it's a combination of all sorts of things. It's the pacing, and it's the voice direction. Getting the cadence right so that a joke works, things like that. They're just really, really good at what they do up there. I've said this before, but what the hell? I'll say it again now. The first time I saw the show was at the season 2 story meeting, which is the writers' summit. It was the beginning of season 2. We all get together to just brainstorm ideas. Lauren had the pilot done, so we got to watch the pilot, and they put it up on this big screen in this Hasbro conference room, and it came on, and I was like, it was like that moment in Kingdom Hearts Chronicles with Pinkie Pie where her smile appears. I was like, oh my God, look at this. This is beautiful. It's like melted Skittles on the TV screen, and it's just, there's music, and it moves, not at like a crazy seizure-inducing pace, but it's like got a great pace. It's not slow, it's not fast. It's like just right. It's beautiful. I just got it. I was like, oh, this is what we're working on. Okay. And it's weird because I had already written 3 episodes at that point. But there's just such a disconnect between... What's that?
But that's when it all clicked for you.
Yeah, exactly. After I'd already written 3 episodes. But yeah, this is just a long-winded way to praise Studio B, or DHX, whatever the hell they're called these days. those guys are really good at what they do. And so when I saw that song from Cider Squeezy, the song kind of sounded basically how I expected because it's clearly based on The Music Man. But when you mix it with the visuals, and I'd never seen the designs for Flim and Flam, and their machine looked so great. It looked like a Dr. Seuss machine, which is how I described it in the script. It all worked perfectly.
Well said. I'm now looking through again. We got to get better at the segues between questions because we end up with dead air after a really long and good answer.
That gives people a chance to donate.
Yes, there we go. When in doubt, throw out a plug for the donation drive. If you haven't donated yet, please do. How much time have we got? You around for a little bit longer? You getting sick of us yet?
I still have 2 beers. I'm good.
Excellent. As long as the beer doesn't run out, then we've got you.
Yep.
Cool. Littlest Pet Shop. You want to talk about that? We'll step away from ponies for a minute and talk about one of your other projects, one of your other more recent projects. What's it been like working on that?
Littlest Pet Shop's super fun for me because the people who run Littlest Pet Shop, they're called Jim. I've had a few beers. Tim and Julie Cahill, husband and wife team, and they actually gave me my very first job. They hired me on a show called My Gym Partner's a Monkey at Cartoon Network when they really didn't have any reason to hire me. I had no credits. I had a couple of SpongeBob spec scripts that I wrote that they hired me off of. But I had so much fun with them on that show. And then they went their separate ways after that show ended. I went my separate way. And then they got Littlest Pet Shop, so I got to go back and work with them again. So that was really fun to be reunited with those guys. And they're still running the show. I went to the season 2 summit, and I helped brainstorm ideas, and I actually wrote a couple premises that I was going to write. But, then I had to write this script for my book. So I didn't actually write any episodes of season 2, but I wrote premises, and there's one that coming up that I think is such a fantastic episode. I didn't write it, but I wrote the idea, and I can't wait to see it. It's based, just to tease you, it's based on Apocalypse Now.
I'm
Really?
just picturing how that's going to
Yes.
work. You're not pulling our leg. That is actually...
No, I swear to you. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to see it.
That's going to get twisted. Wow. I just... Kurtz and... Oh, dear.
Yes.
You've broken me, man. I'm now scared. 'Cause I've seen... I haven't watched the show. I've seen a couple of your episodes. I saw Gale Break. And a few other ones, but I know there's been some crossover fandom, and a lot of people who are into My Little Pony have started watching LPS as well. And you predicted this, I should point out. You were like, at Midwestria, you mentioned that this show was coming out and that people would like it and that they should give it a shot in the same way they gave ponies a shot.
Huh, look at that. I'm a sage.
Yeah.
I like Littlest Pet Shop. I think Littlest Pet Shop's really fun, and it's got a lot of the same voice cast. It's got Daniel Ingram. It's got a lot of the same crew, but it's also got new people, people who I've worked with on other things. There's other writers who are on Littlest Pet Shop that I've worked with on other shows, in addition to Tim and Julie, and it's got them, and they're great. So it's a good show.
And you're doing an Apocalypse Now episode.
Yeah.
That's... Oh, God, that could go to so many awful places. I don't even know.
I can't wait to see it.
I'm going to have to see it when it comes out. Yeah. Got a question from Osaka Jack. This is actually going back to ponies, but you want to talk about LP? Anything else you wish to say on LPS before we switch gears yet again?
Yeah. Moving swiftly on.
It's a question about your obsession with wings, because Osaka Jack has noted that Twilight gets wings at the end of Season 3, Rarity gets wings in Sonic Rainbow, Pinky gets wings in Lunar Eclipsed, oh, chicken wings, and Rainbow and Fluttershy get their wings taken away by Discord in The Return of Harmony. What is it with you and wings? Why do you love wings so much?
And Parasprites.
He points it out. That is a recurring theme in your work, wings. What's up with that, man?
I'd never noticed before. I don't know. This is mind-blowing to me.
Is it one of those things that the fandom picks up on and we're just thinking too much?
Well, it seems like there, 2 is a coincidence. 3 still maybe, but that's like 4. But I don't.
Big episode in
That's the
season
thing.
four
I don't
from you,
pick these stories. The way the show works is you're assigned the story that you're told you're coming in to do this story. I didn't pick to do the Twilight Gets Wings one. That's the one I was assigned. The same with all the other ones. So maybe somebody on the show thinks I'm the wing guy. Maybe that's it.
Well, if they didn't before, they do now. Marjan suggests that did you eat some hot wings while writing these episodes? Maybe it's a subconscious thing.
It's
as good as an explanation as
but as well as I can remember, I've never had wings at the hub. I may be wrong about that, but I don't think I have.
If you don't come to one of the 3 conventions wearing wings, I think you've failed us as fans, man. Wings and actually the horn as well. You need to cosplay as an alicorn at one of these conventions. I mean,
Oh goodness.
First clue how to cosplay. I like looking at it now. They're a lot of fun.
Just throw something together. Tara Strong cosplayed it as Twilight Sparkle at the other Chicago con, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, but that's Tara
Yes,
Strong.
at Candlelock Gardens. Yeah, she cosplayed as Twilight Sparkle at Candlelock
That's Tara
Gardens.
Strong. She can get away with that.
Oh, you can get away with it. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Twilight Corn. You did Twilight Corn, so you have that.
People
you have
would
the
pay
power.
to see that.
People would pay to see that.
I wore
So-
ears. I wore big Macintosh ears at Midwestera. Does that count?
There are photos of that floating around, and those are also a good source of income.
So
We will
actually then,
if we make it to €3,000, we will release photos of. No, I'm not going to do that to you. That's mean.
yeah,
Go for it. €3,000. That's worth it.
Okay, then what if we did a donation milestone for Larson or you getting up as a alicorn for one of the
Oh
cons?
Lord!
We can
Actually,
buy
I know what I'd like
those,
to
Earlier, when I said I'm quite a shy person, and now you're going to try to get me to dress up.
Maybe not the best
Well,
of ideas on my part.
They have those nice wings and horns on We Love Fine.
That's true. Buy some
Get
more
it.
pony merch from We Love Fine, get some more t-shirts, and then get in the horns in the ears as well.
You don't. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be
some-
anything like going full out. I mean, just something playful.
All right, you know what? I'll think about it. How about that?
There we go. As long as you're thinking.
All right, there you go. There you go.
I will mull.
I actually want to see you as Flim. That's
That's much more likely.
Flim or Flam. One or the other. It depends if you want to go with a mustache or not. But that I would be quite amused to see you walking into a convention wearing the striped hat and the striped shirt. And that hat. You could pull that off. That would be a good look.
Isn't that self-serving?
No,
Wouldn't I have to cosplay as like an Amy Keating Rogers character?
no, she's not going to cosplay as one of your characters. So
I could cosplay as like Muley a Mild.
oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What else we got here?
I'm on my last beer.
So if you've got questions, get them in now before Mitch runs out of beer.
Maybe we could buy some beer and ship it to Mitch.
What kind of beer do you drink?
Actually, well, no, a lot of beer fans in the fandom. That's a good question. What beer do you enjoy?
Someone will, if you tell us, someone will probably bring you beer the next con they see you at.
Yeah.
I have finished my High Life, so now I'm on the Pacifico. Unfortunately, there's only 2 Pacificos left.
Pacificos, you say? Let me
Yeah.
make a note of that.
I figured
They're
you would
really
just
good.
be
I
hitting
like
the
that.
gin.
I enjoy Pacifico.
No gin tonight?
No gin tonight. I had an amazing. This is not anything I drink ever, but James Gandolfini died, and I heard. Did you guys hear what his last meal was?
No.
No, where was it?
It's absolutely insane. He ordered 2 large orders of like fried king shrimp, a large order of foie gras, 4 shots of rum, 2 pina coladas, and some other drink.
Wow.
If you're gonna go out, go big.
Yeah, as the last meals go, that's not bad.
So I had some rum, just sort of, my little tribute to Gandolfini because I'm a big fan. And it was this rum called 7. Oh God, Now I'm gonna forget the name of it. I'll find out and I'll tweet it. 7 something. It was absolutely delicious. Highly recommend if you drink rum.
7.
The stream for the artist went down again.
Oh, dear.
No.
It's all the little
what's that?
unhappy plug-in faces.
What is it with artists running away
I thought they were
or
skulls.
disappearing? They fell into the fire.
No, they're
Fires.
little pixel pieces.
Come back, artists. We forgive you.
I'm still here.
Okay. We still have the fire to protect us. Everyone huddle around the fire.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
well, we're-
fire is still there.
While we're dealing with the technical issues, without spoilers, will season 4 be great? There's a nice softball question for you.
No. No.
No, it's going to suck.
I didn't say it would suck.
No,
but
it's
not-
going to be better than great. It's got to be better.
Ooh.
Well, I mean,
Better than
obviously,
great.
of course.
Right.
But it's like, okay, it's called 7 Tiki, and my God, is it delicious.
7 Tiki.
7 Tiki rum.
No.
7 tiki rum.
What was I going to say?
Season 4. Going to be great.
Season 4. Yep.
It's gonna be great.
Excellent. We just like
Season-
hearing that from people who are in positions of authority on the show.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be legit.
It gives us reassurance.
It does.
Yep.
I
Even if
haven't
it's
seen-
just echoing it from us, we still appreciate it.
I haven't seen Equestria Girls. How is it?
I haven't seen it either. It hasn't come out in the UK.
I haven't watched it yet.
I've seen it. It's absolutely wonderful. I love it.
Oh, great.
The reviews
Very
are
good,
pretty good
very
on the internet.
I have seen good reviews. I've seen a lot of, hey, wait a minute, the fandom's not really gonna die. That kind of reaction.
Yet again,
We're
the
always
fandom has not
dying.
died.
There's always some sort of
I've
crisis.
tweeted. I don't know how many times I've tweeted that I don't know anything about Equestria Girls, and still I get 3 or 4 a day about Equestria Girls.
Did you all mention that the fandom exploded?
Boy, they sure
We
were
always
before.
explode.
But now I'm getting a lot of compliments. I'm getting a lot of people tweeting me, like, complimenting me on it. I'm like, cool. Awesome. Anything else you want to compliment me on that I didn't work on?
You are one of the more visible writers on Twitter, though, and you were also one of the first. I think most of them. I want to say Amy was around the same time as you, but I know Megan joined later, and Cindy, and all the rest of them. So
Twitter?
even if you're not, even if you weren't, I cannot speak today. Even though you didn't work on it, a lot of people affiliate you with it anyway, associate you with it
True.
anyway. Yeah.
Yep.
You're one of the faces of Pony.
Wow.
That's something to be proud of, right? That's
Yeah,
no.
that's pretty cool. No, I like it.
Some pretty important pony. The pony that every pony should know.
Now, what do you guys think about the expectation question?
You keep throwing the questions back at us, and we're supposed to be throwing questions at you. I see what you're doing.
Because,
there.
well, I find it really interesting how, if you look at the expectations in terms of the rolling out of the show. So the expectations, obviously, from everybody at the beginning were, this is going to suck. Let's watch it and laugh at it. And instead, it was like, oh, this is pretty good. Let's watch it. I think, right? I'm totally generalizing, but
No, that's pretty much how it's done.
everybody had low expectations and was pleasantly surprised. Where am I going with this? What are the expectations now?
For My Little Pony, or
Yeah.
I expect ponies.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
it's just
much.
person.
That's safe.
Like,
That's fair.
Like a lot of people expect some more of a description on things that they've been wondering, like with Luna and Celestia, how the situations will work out when it comes to their past. A lot of people have been speculating about that and anticipating it in season 4. While other people may or may not want to see, as we said, more pony, just everywhere ponies doesn't matter to them. So, I think it just depends on the person whether they're looking for something specific or just in general want more pony. I mean, personally, I just want more pony. So if you say it's going to be great, then
I
as
think
long as
expectations
it's
is
not good.
those. If you just like, I expect more pony. That's very healthy, and I think
Yep.
you'll be rewarded for that expectation.
Yeah.
There are sort of story elements that I hope come up, but in terms of expectations, it's just I expect there will be more pony, and I expect I will continue to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same route too. It's really just that like feeling of being able to know that you can expect to see more of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic in the in the future, and hopefully as time goes on in the near future. So knowing that it's going to be there, and knowing that you'll be able to enjoy it and spend time with friends or colleagues or whoever else that you watch Pony with, if you find yourself watching Pony with good company, then that's all that really that I personally look forward to. Like being able to just enjoy something with other people, either with good food or good drink or
Good rum.
Good rum is probably the best part about it. And I think that
makes me wildly happy to hear, because that's exactly what it should be, and that to me is like still, and the spirit of the show is still alive and well in that statement right there.
Yeah, I think it's I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
Well, I just want to say, like, I think that one of the best ways of being able to enjoy My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is grabbing a friend or grabbing, even a loved one or even an acquaintance saying, "Hey, come watch this show with me. Let's get some food, let's get some drink, and let's watch this and let's enjoy it together." Because I don't know, I enjoy seeing other people's reactions and perspectives like emerging as you're mutually engaging in the consumption of some form, of a good form of media content. So I think
it's very much it's a communal activity, and I'm remembering watching. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you there.
No, please go.
I'm just remembering watching the finale of season 3. I went to the London meetup for it, and it was in this bar just outside of, where was it? Somewhere in London, one of these pubs. There are many pubs in London. All these bronies crammed in, and few people had plushies, and some people were selling stuff, and they all had the t-shirts. But the energy in the room watching that episode was just electric, and it really was what you're talking about, the kind of what the fandom is all about, just coming together and enjoying something for what it is, in a nice way. That's a little bit reductionist, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's
that story just went nowhere, did it?
No, that's exactly that's very heartening, actually.
Yeah, and I think that for season 4, when we do get close to that date, if there's anybody out there who plans on organizing any sort of event or plans to watch the show in any group, make sure that you put it out there. Make sure you get like people invited, have good food, have some good drink available, and just make it that fun collective communal experience that really brings people together and brings you in contact with people that you wouldn't have otherwise met in your life. Because I don't think I would have met maybe 75% of the people that I've met in my life if it wasn't for going out to say like a meetup down in Los Angeles in Little Tokyo and saying, "Hey, I want to hang out with these people, talk about Pony, and enjoy Pony content." So
it has been phenomenal watching the community develop as
that
it
right
has,
there
and also the fact that we've. Sorry, go ahead.
That's exactly why I love going to conventions. For that reason, you get to talk to people and hear that story, and people saying, "I had no friends and I didn't know what to do with myself, and I discovered the show, and now I have. Look at all these friends I have." It's a show about friendship, and it actually created actual real friendships. And there at EQLA, there was a marriage proposal from people.
Oh
who met
yes,
through the show.
That was
It's
so
awesome.
touching. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
It's great. It's just great. It's to talk to people who were really in a dark place and then found other people through the show and connected to them, and because it's such an internet heavy show, because nobody in the world has the hub, it really did connect people, and I love that. And it's great to hear that that's still alive and well.
Absolutely.
It must be very rewarding to have worked on that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's what's that is what principally launched or catapulted our fandom into what it is now, and what is going to help sustain it in the future. Because the relationships that we've formed with each other as part of this, whole mutual experience of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, isn't just going to last, through the duration of the show itself, which we hope continues to be on for a while. But eventually know it's going to have to come to an end at some point. But the friendships and the relationships that we made, the experiences that we've shared, the times that we spent together, and the causes that we've all gotten behind or what have you, it's going to last throughout your life. It's going to, and in part it's going to define and change some of us,
Right.
but primarily for the better. And I think it's going to really bring us back to that kind of communal and outwardly social mindset that is essential to the maintenance of community, both virtually and physically, in the long term.
The dramas the moments of drama will come and go, but the friendship will stay forever. I think we might be having some audio problems. It looks like the people in the chat mentioning there's some echo.
What's the problem,
chat, or is that still? We're at the nice part of the interview, the important part where we're talking about emotions and the impact of the show. We're at the serious part, and that's when we have
it's really heartwarming. You guys are totally missing out.
I know, exactly. It's like so many feels. I can just feel them emanating from everywhere.
Nope, still got some echo. Who is it on? Does it echo particularly when one of us is speaking?
Echo is new Game of Thrones. One-winged angel. Very funny.
Oh, dear.
This is true. Well, actually, whenever Derp Time has spoken, I believe it was either his roommates or his family has been watching Game of Thrones the entire duration of the stream. So we've heard like background portions of Game of Thrones. There's just like certain points you hear like screaming and violence and hatred and anger in the middle of a charity live stream. Like, oh, okay, that happened.
They're like, oh, Pony. No, you're
or like some epic background music of like, oh, okay, all right.
It's actually his parents. That's the more ironic part. His parents are watching it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
How is your beer supply holding up?
I have 3/4 of one left.
Okay, so you've still got some time to hang out.
Yes. Are we going?
Well,
sorry.
There was one question I just wanted to run by you. What do you think the Brony community has taught you? I know you've seen things that the show has taught us personally as a community and as individual people, but as a whole, what have we taught you ourselves?
That's a good question.
I mean, I have a lot of answers. So I'm just worried they're all going to sound kind of lame.
I'll go on.
One of them is just like, it really is just kind of always do your best, because I've worked with a lot of animation writers who just phone it in, because to be totally honest, writing for kids animation, you don't really have to do anything more than that. And there's a lot of really hacky, terrible writers. But Lauren found great ones because she'd worked with them. I brought them together, and the first time I met these people, and I'm so happy she brought me on. But I didn't know you guys existed till I had written 2 or 3 episodes of season 2. And once, you start seeing like a little bit of feedback. I think the first episode that I wrote that aired that I was aware of a fan base was Cutie Mark Chronicles. And I saw some positive feedback on it. And it was a total rush. It was like, oh my God, somebody actually watched something I wrote. Because I've written on some crappy shows and stuff like my mom won't even watch. So this is my first experience of like somebody watching something, and somebody I didn't know watching something and like posting something about it, and that it was positive. And I was like, I'm so glad I didn't phone that in, and I actually tried to make it as good as I could, and try to make myself laugh. But that was a good lesson, like no matter what you're working on, because like I said, I thought Symbiotic Titan was going to be the big hit that I would be going to conventions for, and My Little Pony would just kind of go away. But I'm just like, I'm so happy I tried on those early episodes. But also, it's interesting. I had zero experience whatsoever with fandoms, and this is my first experience with it, and it's been just kind of magical. It really has. It's so fun going to these conventions where you get to actually see people face to face. Twitter's one thing, but it's to hear people's stories and how they got together. It's made me a believer. I don't know.
Was there a moment
that?
Was there a moment where it just clicked for you, where it kind of all made sense? Your understanding of the fandom or connection with the fandom?
I think it would be EQLA. Midwestria, the Chicago convention I went to, was awesome. It was so cool, but it was very small. And it was my first experience at one of these things, so I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't know if this was normal or... It was an amazing experience. But EQLA was so big, and it was the first time I did, we did, autographs at Midwestern, but it wasn't really the same. And people were just coming up one after another and being completely open with me, saying... This is where I was in my life when I first discovered the show. My friend made me watch it, and it's changed my life. So many people came up and said, it's changed my life, it's changed my life, it's changed my life. And they were surrounded by their friends, so I could clearly see that was true. And I think that was it. It was just sitting in that autograph room. And a lot of people who, they didn't have very much money, so they just bought the one ticket because they wanted Lauren's autograph. They would still come over and chat with us. And it was just everybody who came through just wanted to talk about what the show meant to them. And I think that was it. It was just sitting in that room, just talking to people one after another and just getting the same kind of level of the full impact of what the show meant to them, I guess. And the community, what the fandom meant to each other. And, I don't know. I think it was EQLA. It was just... It was so overwhelming there, the numbers.
But in a positive way.
In a positive way. Twitter's more fun, Twitter's kind of funny and we joke and this and that, but there it was wow, this is really important to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. I have another question. Just I was wondering when you were saying that when you first started seeing the fandom and getting positive reception on what you were writing, what you were doing, it made you feel much more positive about yourself. Was it strange that being a writer of a children's show, especially one geared toward little girls, that not hitting the target demographic, how did that affect you? When you first found out, all right, these are, older men who will enjoy it with their friends and things like that. Did you seem a little offset by that, or did you look past that right from the get-go?
I was, so the way that I found out about it was I went to a story meeting for, I think it was Secret of My Excess. It might have been Super Speedy Cider Squeezy. And Lauren was talking about the bronies, and I was like, what the hell's that? And she wrote 4chan. She wrote 4chan.org on this paper and gave it to me. It's like, just take a look at this. And I put it in my bag, and I just lost it. I completely lost it, forgot all about it. But then the next story meeting, when I went in, she showed me this video of these Russian kids. It was like a Russian camp in the middle of the forest. And it was like a handheld video just going around to all these boys, teenage boys. They were all under this, I don't know what you call it, this outdoor thing. And it came around to these two dudes with guitars, and they started playing Winter Wrap Up. And then all of a sudden there's 10 dudes around singing it, and there's a bunch more guys, and they're all in their thick Russian accents singing all the words to Winter Wrap Up. And I was like, what? Okay, weird enough that there's teenage boys who know this song, but they're in Russia. What the hell's going on? And then she wrote 4chan again and gave it to me again, and that's when I checked it out, and that's when I found people talking about Cutie Mark Chronicles. What did you ask me?
I was just wondering if it surprised you when you first found out that...
Yes. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Well, then it was... Yeah, I still didn't really get it. I think over time it's sort of become clear to me that I think the majority of bronies are just animation fans in general. There seems to be a lot of crossover with like Doctor Who and other fandoms too. Not all, but like there's a lot of crossover. But I think for the most part, bronies are animation fans, and they just happen to find an animated show they didn't expect to like, and they did. And there's more to it, and there's this great heart that Lauren put into the show. And so I did understand it. I did get it. I did think it was an ironic thing at first, and it probably was. People like, oh, isn't this funny? We're guys, and we're watching My Little Pony. But, the more I saw and the more scripts I read, because the writers are on the email list for each distributed script, so I read all the scripts and started seeing completed episodes. And like I said, when I saw the pilot, I was like, oh my God, this is great. It wasn't a huge surprise, I guess. I mean, it's obviously a huge surprise, but it wasn't a huge surprise that it crossed to a different demographic. To the extent that it did was a huge surprise.
I was going to actually have you elaborate on that. So to the extent of, you see us doing this fan art right now, myself included, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the music or any sort of animation that's been done by fans, but it's all grown to something very remarkable, and some people are actually raising it up to be sort of a subculture where it's breached every sort of idea and kind of gone in everything, where people are writing their own fan fictions about it, but speculating on the show and deeper things such as Starsworld the Bearded, who you're very familiar with. How does that make you feel that this thing has exploded into something that could be considered a subculture because of every genre of music being exploited like this, and in all good fun, really just fan art and everyone kind of doing their own thing with the ponies? Has it become sort of an icon that you are proud of?
It's absolutely amazing. It's just absolutely awesome. I haven't really, listened to much of the music. I mean, I try to avoid as much of it as I can just to go into the writer's room clean, to not be overly influenced. But, at some of the conventions I've seen like Silverhound perform and the Beatle Bronies and, a whole bunch of different genres of music. And it's mind-blowing. It's so good. And I've seen a bunch of the art for the auctions and things like what you guys are doing right now. It's amazing. And I know there's tons of fan fiction, and it is its own world. And I think that's absolutely awesome because it's, the core of it is that heart and that connection. And I think you couldn't develop a subculture out of a better thing than that. I love it. I think it's absolutely awesome.
All right, well, I mean, that's all I have from my end. I'm sorry if I took it over for a while, guys. I just, if you personal questions, I just wanted to ask.
Those were good questions. That covered good territory.
Right.
So I'll give you guys back your, I'll give you guys Mitch back. I'm sorry for taking him for so long, but thank you for answering. And questions.
It's okay. We all want a piece of Mitch Larson.
Because that doesn't sound creepy or anything.
I've had that. Like some of my family would say, "Oh, are these just creepy guys who are, creepy?" I'm like, no, that's really not it at all. It's like, I can see why somebody doesn't know anything about it. That would be their first thought, but like, no, that's not it. It really is. I do think the whole thing coalesced around that heart of the show that Lauren put in there. That so much of, and it's part of what I loved about writing for the show and reading the scripts that came through is so much animation now for kids is so postmodern and just cynical and weird and shouting, and this show just not that. It actually has genuine heart and a good thing to say, and it's and it reverberated into real life, and I think that's just spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, we could open it up a little bit more, and if any of the other artists have questions, or do you still have? How much beer have you got left?
I probably have about 5 minutes worth of beer.
We're measuring them time, dear. 5 minutes worth of beer. So if you have questions for Mitch Larson, artists, by all means ask, and if you're in the chat and have questions, or listening via Twitter, that doesn't make any sense, but if you have questions, you can throw them that way as well. Go ahead.
tweets. We need to know whether or not you're losing your kingdom.
I
Yes.
just gave such a Rarity-esque impassioned speech.
Oh, we missed
Oh,
It's
Really?
lost to the
Freaking
ages.
Skype.
Alas.
it. It was
Oh.
sad.
It was just not meant to be.
It really was.
I basically just said I didn't want to live in a world like that.
oh.
Someone should make a crown, the King of Pegasus' crown, and have it as something you can duke it out for at one of these cons.
Yes.
Chaotic
Yes.
Brony or one of the metal workers can fashion one.
Mitch Larson.
I've got a giant echo going.
Oh,
Well,
Oh,
Mitch
it's
Larson,
crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
Anyway, just as a
did we lose the
question.
call again?
I don't know.
No, I'm still here.
Yeah, he's still here. Is your what's it called? The audio from your live stream going in the background? Maybe. Might be able to turn that off.
Oh, I don't think so. Oh, yes, it is.
Actually-
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
There.
Wow.
Actually, I have
Thank you.
a short question. Do you have an OC pony?
I think I have a bunch now. I had one that Foxy Hooves made me. I got one for BronyCon. They made me a new one. And then somebody, I think it was for Las Pegasus, did a drawing of all the riders. And I had a different one for that. I'm even different colors and all these things.
Well, if there's an OC of you out there, there can definitely be fan art of this great war over your little kingdom.
I wanted my OC to be one of the evil balloons from Stern of Harmony.
Oh yes. In fact, it should be wearing the crown. It should be wearing
There you go.
The evil Return of Harmony balloon wearing a...
Yep, that is Larson's Kallisti OC.
Well, if anyone can pull it off, it's someone in this.
Love it.
One of the artists will
Yes.
manage that.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I was going to ask. Emily Larson, did you ever figure out what that request was that you wanted? That was on the top of your head.
You know, I did, but I actually realized it's not an art thing. It was a because the question is usually phrased, what could the fandom do? And I thought it'd be super cool to see like a play version of Super Speedy Cider Squeezy because the whole thing is framed like a play. It's all in one location. I would love to see that. That's not something you guys can do, clearly.
Well,
Or can
That's,
you?
No, we can. We can do a lot of things.
oh,
Well, it's at
Oh, no.
Everfree. There was a reenactment done with some cosplayers who were doing the whole Applejack the Apple family. They had Applejack, they had Apple Bloom, they had Granny Smith, and then they also encountered the Flim Flam Brothers cosplayers, and they did that whole sequence with the song. So it's
Oh, that's awesome.
it's
So that
not
exists.
too far going from that to the entire episode. It's doable.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
So, all right, a play version of the episode. Yeah, okay.
I'd pay for that. I'd go see that.
That'd be cool. Yeah. that'd be
Someone
cool.
will do it at one of the cons. Someone will put it on.
It would be a heck of an undertaking to organize, but it's possible.
It would, yeah, because you need all the towns ponies.
Mm-hmm.
Shout it out on Twitter as well, and I'm sure people will pick up on that.
Yeah.
I'll send that out.
Do it. Why not?
Do it.
So, any you're probably out of beer by now, I would think.
I just finished it.
Alas.
Should we go to the last question?
Yes.
One final question for Mitch Larson before we let you go, and thank you so much for coming on and being a part
Thanks
of
for
this
having me.
and
I hope
helping us.
I hope the money is
Raise
pouring in.
Well, we've had a steady stream of donations. We're at 1425 now, so
Fantastic.
not bad.
42 donators. I remember when it was at 33.
So we'll do the NPR thing. If you enjoyed this interview with M.A. Larson and you'd like to hear more things like it, and you want a free tote bag, be sure to donate now.
You're voting with your dollars, and if there was more money brought in during the Abe and Kenny Rogers portion of the interview, then I'll know what that means.
Oh.
He'll take it personally.
I will take it personally.
You have to take it personally.
So one
You
final
can't.
question.
She had the early slot, so she
I know.
got all the
She had the plum
starting
spot.
money.
It's true.
So you also get Bosco with hers?
Yeah, Bosco was on earlier. He was one of our top donors. I think he put in a little over 500 euros
Oh wow.
100? Place at 250.
because he donated twice.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Very generous donor.
Gosh, that's
Right.
awesome.
We love Bosco.
What does Kallisti mean?
Oh, Kallisti is a reference to
The apple of discord.
yeah, Apple of
I'm
Discord.
sorry, I had to jump in there. I can't not take that because it's awesome. Anyway, I'm not going to go off on my thing though.
Alrighty, well,
Any final questions for Mitch Larson? The chat seems to have gone quiet, but this is one final opportunity to pick the brain of one of the writers.
Because we lost the last 10 seconds there.
oh no!
We keep losing bits and pieces. All right, well, we should probably let you go, Mitch. But again, thank you very much for coming on and being a part of this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep.
And we
Good
will
luck.
see you again, hopefully, for the next one.
Cool.
I'll see you at BronyCon.
See you guys at BronyCon.
See you at Everfree.
Oh,
So
I
I'm-
wish.
Oh wait, you're not going to Everfree?
Alas, I can't go to Everfree.
Oh
Isn't that like next week?
no, that's the week after.
Okay. I would love to, but I can't.
Oh, okay. No worries then. Then I will
Have
see you at
fun,
BronyCon.
Have a good time.
You do have to pop by the Bronies for Good table though. We're gonna have a nice big area right by the BronyCon information booth.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Can't wait.
Sweet.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for everything. And
Yep.
keep those expectations in check.
Indeed. Oh, well, and one last thing. Do expect a 6-pack of Pacifico.
Oh, fantastic. I
And
will,
some seven
I will drink
something
those
rum.
Pacificos.
Yes.
Happily.
All right.
I'll talk to you later.
Take care,
Take it.
Larson.
Buddy.
Bye.
Right.